Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and as you can see, I'll be showcasing my Gold Paladin Premium Ezel deck profile. I've been working on this for quite some time and I've had a lot of fun with it. So, as you can see, we'll get straight to it. Starting us off, we have our starting Vanguard Crimson Lion Cub Kirf. We mainly use Axel 2 and we have our Quick Shield. For our grade 3s, we are running 4 of the Incandescent Lion Blonde Ezel. So he has the ability in hand if you have both your Bowmane and Gareth in Soul on the field, and you have Kirf in Soul, that you can Soul Blast that Kirf and ride it as stand, losing 1 drive. Of course, we'll mitigate that with our other grade 3, if we have him in hand, the Raven-haired Ezel. He has the ability that if you have Ezel as your main Vanguard, you can counterblast 1 to superior ride him. You don't lose a drive at all. Therefore, we'd have your 2 Axel circles way sooner than normal. And if our opponent was greedy with damaging us, we have Percival. He has the ability to counterblast 1 and discard something to give us an additional Axel circle. And if you have the Aglavel in deck or drop zone, you can call that out. So obviously, you'd get 3 Axel circles as soon as possible, maybe even more. Now of course, since we are running all these Ezels, we have to play 4 copies of Bowmane. He has the ability when he's placed, you can discard a card to get your Gareth from deck, and when he is called by an ability, you can give him plus 3k. Of course, we also have the Flame Wonder Ezel, the V-Series one because the other one is banned. When he is placed, you can call out another rearguard, so that can happen in the battle phase. And of course, you can Soul Blast 1 and retire your Howell to superior ride an Ezel from your deck, losing an additional drive check. So you have 2 different options of getting your Blonde Ezel as your Vanguard as soon as possible. Our last 2 grade 2s is 2 slots of Oath Liberator Aglaval. Of course, we don't need more than 2 since we can get him from drop or from the deck. So therefore, it's only viable at 2. Next up, we run 4 copies of Gareth. Now, to be honest, you could run less, you could run 2 or 3 and run an additional self-damager, but I found to have his additional 10k as quite valuable when your opponent's like, oh, you can rush now, you did your shenanigans, I have to push back. If you have the CB for it, his additional 10k on an Ultima turn is appreciated. And of course, we are running 4 copies of the Howl. He soul charges and counter charges if you have a Vanguard with Ezel. And then our last 3 slots is the, constantly mess up her name, the Additional Angel. Now she has an ability to Soul Blast and put her into the damage zone to take a face-up grade 3. Now you don't have to take a grade 3 if you don't have one, but she puts herself in damage zone, making it easier for you to get your additional effects off for your Ezels, for your Percivals, or for your Strides. Now for our trigger lineup, we are running 4 drop EGs. You do need to have that extra defense or hand, definitely if someone's counter rushing you or in the late game. We are running 7 crits. Now of course we optimize this one for if we need to have additional strides, but this one could come in handy if you need to supply a hand or additional power in the late game. Now our last slot goes to what used to be the over trigger, but now it can be Catch Gold Liberator once more for the Ultima Restand combo. Then the last 4 slots are your heal triggers. This optimizes your G-guarding, getting into Ultima faster, and of course, surviving. Now, since we've mentioned him before, we are running Ultima. So he's the Zeroth Dragon. If you can counterblast 2, You can put 4 units from your deck, 2 to hand, and is it 2 to hand? No, you call them to rearguard circles, my apologies, and 2 of them to the top of your deck, which naturally are going to be your triggers. Now we run 2 Spearex dragons, so he has the abilities to superior stride while your opponent is maybe at grade 1 or grade 2 if you have the counterblast for it. Of course, our deck is optimized to have as much counterblast as possible. You could go for more with the self-damager as I mentioned before, but I find that you can consistently go into it. Then we have 2 copies of Reigning Dragon. He does come in for the late game pretty often, so don't count him out just yet. Then we have the Golden Dragon Brambant Dragon. He's good if you don't have the counterblast to spare and you have some rearguards on the field to get that extra pressure, but generally it's more of an option stride than anything else. Same goes for our good boy Gurkui Helios. So this one is mainly there for the additional drive check and if you don't have the resources to go into any others. And a little tech slot that I put in but didn't end up going through with most of my testing is the Mithril Ezel if you encounter any chaos matchups, any Link Joker matchups that get your board locked. We have the room for it, so definitely optimizing. Of course, 2 Slay Me Flares to get those defensive options. 2 copies of Elise to flip one of your G-Guards even faster, get into Ultima. That is your end game. That is the biggest game plan you have. And lastly, a Dismal if you want to protect any of your units. This doesn't come up too often, but you know, it's glad to have that option. Now that's it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys next time. Stay radiant, bye bye.